Kilo 2 Yankee Juliet.
Kilo 2, oh gosh, we don't usually get a lot of traffic out of 2s, Roger. What's the name there?
We usually get a lot of traffic out of 2s, Roger. What's the name there?
Well, I'm actually in South Carolina. This is a vanity call for me, and it is kind of fun because most people can hear the southern drawl here and know I'm not necessarily from Two-Land. The name here is Beth, Bravo Echo Tango Hotel. I'm located in Greer, South Carolina, which is in the northwestern part of the state. I actually was on the radio earlier today, but I think the band was a little goofy, and it tended to seem like I was off frequency, but I think I had not made any changes. Do I sound like I'm on frequency, and is there any crackling noises on my audio? That was also reported to me.
No, clean audio, and you're right on frequency. And I think I copied the mail on you earlier this afternoon. I think you were on 7190 or thereabouts, and you seem to be right on frequency at that time.
90 or thereabouts, and you seem to be right on frequency at that time.
Well, the person I was talking to said I was sounding pretty crackling. We were also tried 20 meters, and he was off by a little bit. I think it was the band. The band was kind of odd earlier today because I made no changes, and then as a few minutes go by, then all of a sudden it seemed everything was on frequency. I've not had that happen before. The radio is a Yaesu DX-10. I've had it for a while, and I've made no changes to it. I tell you, the more you get on the air, the more interesting it gets because you never know. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, you never know. I mean, even if you think you know, you don't know. So it's better to plan that you don't know and figure out what you can learn today. That's always the thing. Well, this is a transmitter setup band, net, and we just help people achieve the best sounding station possible within the limitations of the equipment they have. And we usually start off asking the question, if you're familiar with that transmit bandwidth. The TBW in those radios is really critical as far as letting the transmitter achieve its best operation, and that is when you are running in that 100 to 2900 transmit bandwave, the TBW, 100 to 2900, and that lets that transmitter of yours run just as best it can, and then gives you just a slice of daylight before you're into somebody else's conversation, Roger.
Slice of daylight before you're into somebody else's conversation, Roger.
Yeah, Roger that. I haven't looked lately, but I think that is what I had it on, and I noticed this radio actually had where you could even, go out to 4K in that regard. And an interesting thing is I have a friend of mine that was listening, and I had it set up with that, and he's like, you've got something else on your audio, so let's remove it from the radio. So I took that off, and came back on. He's like, it is completely gone. So whatever it was doing with going 4K wide, it was doing something in my audio that didn't seem to sound right. So I've had a lot of fun with this radio, and it is definitely interesting to get everybody's different perspective on the audio. The microphone here is the Heil PR37, so it's primarily a voice mic, and it seems to do me pretty well. This is Kilo 2 Yankee Juliet.
Roger, Beth. Well, you're operating that microphone just perfectly. You're very consistent in your approach to that microphone as far as being on microphone. The level is very, very consistent, and that's a very important thing in ham radio, because there's enough strangeness and here comings and goings and Mother Nature and all that stuff. So when you start with a very well modulated station, you stand a better chance of reaching out to those that are listening much better than if you are all around different lengths to the microphone, different distances to the microphone, and ups and downs and all that stuff. You seem to be very focused on your modulation, and that's a very good thing. Part of our setup after the TBC, transmit bandwidth, TBW, is the compressor processor, and we do recommend just a slight amount of that on and at a 3. Processor compressor on and at a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. It's just a very slight amount. You'll never hear it on the air, but it does help us reach our final numbers, so to speak. So that we would do that compressor on at a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. Roger?
At a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. It's you have fun playing with these radios and learning a lot of the different things with it. And I started out with the ICOM 7300, which is a great starting radio. And then I decided I wanted to do a little bit more with the audio here, so I changed over to the AQS DX-10, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. But now I wanted to check in with you just to make sure that my audio sounded well and that I was on frequency, because I was getting that report where I sounded off, and that's never happened to me before with this radio, and I've not made any changes. So the fact that you're saying all is clear, I'm on frequency, you're on frequency sounding to me as well, it hasn't been the band.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have your friendly neighborhood QRMers that come in with a signal carrier like about 4kc off your frequency, and they can really rip up your audio and make you sound very strange. Even though they're not just on the frequency precisely, they can cause enough interference that it does make your audio sound strange. And I, matter of fact, had that happened a couple of weeks ago, and somebody was saying it sounded distorted, and I took her down and checked it out, and it wasn't. I didn't do anything to it. I just listened to it, and then we were back on the air the next week, and they were asking what I did, and I said nothing. I just turned it back on, and there you go. So I was hearing some of that information, that QRM tonality on the frequency, but it didn't sound like it was modulated directly on the frequency. It sounded like it was coming from another channel into 7188. Roger?
7188. Roger?
Roger that. Very good. Now, what was your call again? Because I think I have it right. Was it Kilo Charlie 9? Was it Victor Kilo Victor?
Yes, roger that. The name is Jim Juliet India Mike, and we're located down around Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio, right at Louisville. Roger?
We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio, right at Louisville. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I wanted to make sure I had you right in my log, and your signal coming down here is 5.9. So I've been watching the bands a little bit, and they're a little bit fluctuating, but you're staying very consistent coming in here to South Carolina this afternoon.
Roger. Now, gosh, I'd like to see if I can get a better copy on you. I would like, if you could, give me about 10 or 15 seconds and tell me about your antenna system there, and I'll look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
There, and I'll look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Sure, roger that. We'll stay right here.
Yeah, if you'd just tell me about your antenna system for about 10 or 15 seconds.
If you just tell me about your antenna system for about 10 or 15 seconds.
Sure thing. I have a couple. The one I
actually just raised it up a little bit more when Hurricane Helene came through. It kind of lowered it somewhat off some of the higher branches, and it came a little too low for my liking, so able to reshoot it back up. I also have a modified delta loop It's a 20 meter, 40 meter. It's modified for that as well. So that's actually a different angle to you. You were a lot stronger using my off-center than the loop antenna. So I kept you on this one, but it's doing pretty well. Go ahead.
Roger, I got over to my local antenna, which is a dipole on the 7300, and gosh, your audio is just wall-to-wall. You know, the 7300 has frequency response down to 100 cycles and up to wherever, and it just was copying the mail on you. You're probably about 6 clicks over my local noise level. But I did, that's a pretty good signal. It's not absolutely quiet, but it's quiet enough that I can read my freak meter and spectrum analyzer, and I can see that your audio is going from like about 50 cycles up to wherever, and it really looks very good. Roger?
Roger that. And when you switched over, you were about you were almost 15 over, but it dropped back down pretty quickly. I think the band still hasn't decided what it wants to do. It's been a while since I've been able to get on 40 meters and this time of day. It's just the time change. I know that's affected me getting in here when the band conditions are pretty good. Go ahead.
Roger that. Yeah, we're always transmitting on our dipole antenna, but on the receive side we have 5 internet SDRs that are programmed, and we can use those or our local receiver. So it gives us some options as far as trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. So we have a lot of different receive points across the eastern part of the country, but only one transmit part, which is our dipole in the 7300. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. Well, it's doing very well, and you were 5.9 there and up somewhat, just like I say, a little bit of going up and down somewhat on the signal, but nothing lower than 5.9, so that's a good thing. I see some of the other signals are letting off too, but it's good. It's always fun to get on the radio. My husband retired a couple of years ago, and that kind of slowed me down getting on the air as much as I used to. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger. Well, you run that radio really well. And I was noticing when you were on the 7190, I guess it was, were you a net control on that frequency?
No, I wasn't on 7190 today. I was on, it was like 7168 if you were on 40 meters, and then on 20 meters we were like on it was on 14150, but I think today it was only on 7168. I have done a little bit of net control for the Chasing Cornwallis series that goes on. I didn't do the last battle, but I've done quite a few of them under my belt. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, you have just a beautiful signal, and that's something to be proud of. I don't think, beautiful signals just happen. They're created. Of course, you're starting at a very high creation point by that the radio that you're using, that DX-10. That is a beautiful radio, Roger.
Roger that. I've really been enjoying it as well, and it was pretty interesting because I still had the 7300 at the time that I bought this one, and I wanted to try them out side by side. Seeing the differences between the two radios, and the 10 actually was able to find some signals that the 7300 just couldn't hear. So it made me feel a lot better there, but. Boy, that 7300 taught me a lot. It was really easy to use. Once you got everything down and the menus and all that, so I really enjoyed that radio too. But I wanted to do a little bit more with the audio, so I figured I'd go over to the 10 and of course change the mic to the PR37, and it does very.
The PR37, it does.
Female voice to find a microphone because they're geared more toward the men, so that's been a lot of fun too.
Roger Beth. Well, you're just operating that radio just perfectly. I'm looking at your audio on a meter coming right off the audio output of the 7300, and it's just exactly where it should be. You're running about a 3 dB dynamic range, so you're very full. Your average percent of peak modulation is around 85%, 80 to 85%, which is a very good average. And we are recording. We have been recording since 3:30. And if you would like to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,000, and I'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I'll have to check it out and see how it sounds. As like I say earlier, it was not doing well for whatever reason. So anyway, I will let you keep going. I know this is Annette. You'll want to see if you can pull other people in. And I know we have not spoken before, so I do have you in my log for the first time. And thank you for the reports there on the audio and the sound, and I'm glad everything's good on my end. Had me worried a little bit. KC9VKV, it was very nice meeting you this afternoon. This is Kilo 2 Yankee Juliet.
Roger, Roger, Beth, 73 there. You're sounding just beautiful. I wouldn't change a thing. Maybe just a tad more top end EQ, but that's a thing of mine. We're talking about intelligibility, and the words are the upper frequency words are really important for enunciation and comprehension of what the word is. So I usually suggest maybe a little more top end, because also there's a million different things can happen to your signal once it leaves your place and arrives at somebody else's place. And one of those things is that maybe that signal might be diverted 2 different places in space, and so when it comes back and coincides on Earth, they might be slightly out of phase. And the first thing that happens in an out of phase signal is the top end starts to get canceled out. So if you had this beautiful signal going out, and then Mother Nature decide that she's going to take her revenge on you, and she just takes your top end away audio wise, then you're just Mr. Mumbles actually without that top end. So it's a good thing maybe to have just a tad more top than what you think you might, because you'd probably be using that as opposed to more on the base frequency. So anyway, Beth, 73 to you there, and good to talk at you, and you have a good day. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We'd love to have you.
Well, very nice. I'll take a look at that as well. I'll look at my numbers again that I have on here. Well, 73, have a good weekend, and maybe I'll catch you on the band down the road. This is Kilo 2 Yankee Juliet. Have a good day.
Roger, Roger, 73, Beth. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.